Welcome back, YouTubers. Let's go on a journey. Let's have a baby in China. Now, if I really had the choice, we would have had our baby in Australia. But I have to work here. My wife's pregnant. She stayed in Australia for probably the first 6 months of the pregnancy because we wanted to make sure everything was okay. Go to local doctors in Australia, have our local doctor. We felt safe and confident doing this in Australia. But ultimately we had to come here because I want to be around for the birth of the baby, and I want to be there as straight after and as much as I can. So I couldn't do that if she had the baby in Australia. So we come to China. I bring her back to China. Let's do this. Now in China, the hospital system here is different, very different to Australia. Very different than I expected. Let me try to explain some of the key issues that I found, the key differences. I won't go into every detail because we'll take too long on this video. And some will probably bore you. When you're looking for hospitals in China, you have the choice of, well, you have many options. You know, if you go to the local hospitals, you have to be prepared for a very busy hospital. They're very quick with everything. They're a little sparse in terms of what they offer. And then there's a lot of what you would call private hospitals, I suppose. And there's some private which they would call themselves international style hospitals if you're very rich. The rich and famous will certainly go to the international style hospitals. Now, we looked around quite a lot, went to a lot of different hospitals in Qingdao, got some advice from a lot of people, and made our choice. Okay, so we found this hospital. They call themselves an international women's, and children's hospital for having babies, basically. In Australia, it doesn't matter which hospital you go to, you're going to get some food. You'll get several meals a day if you have to stay in the hospital. Here in China, one key difference couldn't help but notice, you don't get that. Your family's got to bring you your meals from outside the hospital if you're going to a normal local hospital. Even to have a baby, you're going to have an operation on your elbow, you're going to get your appendix taken out, and you're going to be in hospital for 2 or 3 days. During the time you're in hospital, most hospitals, you're going to have to get your family to bring your meals into the hospital to feed you. Or you're going to have to order KFC delivery. Up to you, I suppose. Depends how healthy you want to eat. If you spend a bit more, a lot more, then you can find a private style, expensive hospital, probably on par with something in Australia, private Australian hospital. It's very similar in cost, and then you can get something to eat. So we were lucky. We'd gone the expensive route, not the most expensive, by far not the most expensive, probably mid-range for us. We thought we'll go middle of the road. We don't need the 5-star luxury international feeling, but we found one that we thought was good for us. one other stark difference that I was a little bit shocked with. Well, there's a few. First, we've been to this hospital in preparation for the birth. 4 months, we're going there basically every 2 weeks, and then every week for the last 4 weeks for detailed checkup and monitoring. They are very, very good here. Very detailed, very thorough, and very, very careful. And they've got some very smart people here. So you're in good care. I mean, you're not going to have any major problem because they're very, very cautious. And again, like I mentioned in one of our previous videos about hospitals in China, there is a bit of an incentive for some of these doctors to chalk up a few more tests, making more money for the hospital. We were lucky that we paid what they call a package deal. So the package deal includes a whole group of different testing and checking at various stages leading up to the birth. It also included the birth, and we expected we would have to have an operational birth. As it turned out, we had to do that actually early, 2 weeks early in fact, because she was losing a bit of water and we couldn't work out where. So she had to have it early. When the baby's coming, everyone gets a bit excited, a bit stressed. The time comes, we were lucky. We had a date set, it was all organised, go in the day before, and then the next morning, it's time. It's time for the operation. In China, unlike in Australia, the husband cannot be in the birthing suite. You cannot go in there. You cannot go in there. Even on most of the hospitals here, very rare they'll even let you in for a normal birth, and certainly not for the operation. So there they go. We wheel her up, and they let me follow her upstairs to outside the operating room. Whip her in. She's gone, and I swear it would have been no more than 20 minutes or something. I'm getting told, oh, it's done. They're taking the baby downstairs. Oh, what? So I'm shooting downstairs to our room, and luckily, because we paid a little bit more, we had a private, separate private room with an ensuite area and a couch for me to sleep on. She was born. She was there. Not taken to a baby monitoring room for however many hours or whatever, but taken directly to our actual room, our hospital room that we're going to be staying in. And then we just have to wait there for them to bring my wife back out after surgery, which took a while. She didn't come out. I think they'd only cut the baby out very quickly, washed her up, brought her downstairs while they were still stitching up after the operation, and then obviously the recovery. Then they bring my wife down, and she's still very sedated, in a pretty bad state, not feeling too good. And after a few quick checks, the nurses and the doctor doing their quick rounds validates and says, yep, you're good, baby's good, should be fine, and gave us a quick instruction and then left. And I'm going, okay, that's it, done, awesome. I didn't realise, even though we paid a lot of money, the system in China is different. The expectation is, be prepared for this. If you're coming and you're going to do this in China, if you're going to have any hospital stay in China, if you're going to break your leg and hospital, if you can do anything in China and go to hospital for hospital stay, be prepared. You need to have family or somebody to look after you. Meaning, unless you're in a very expensive hospital, you're not going to get fed. Okay, we were lucky, we're paying money and we're getting fed. But you have to care for your family, for your person that's in the hospital. So that was about the time that I realized, okay, I'm getting instructions here how to change and empty the catheter, the wee bag, on a regular 2-hour basis while my wife's lying there incapacitated in the bed in a bit of pain. I have to monitor her pain and press the button for her and make sure she's got enough drugs. I have to get her water, I have to get her everything and help her sit up, sit down, do everything. And the nurses are not going to be there. There's no nurses regularly sitting there watching. There is a nurse call button I can press if there's a massive problem, if there's a disaster. And then the doctors come around once a day. That means I'm also there looking after the baby. So now I find the parents are actually not able to stay in there, but it's only me and my wife. So my next job is I'm feeding the baby every 2 hours, and I'm cleaning out my wife's wee bag, and I'm doing everything. And then I've got to try to sleep as well at the same time. So it was very exciting. I had 4 days of extremely exhausting, very rough time, where I'm there, basically I was 24 hours a day feeding the baby every 2 hours, changing a nappy, because my wife, even after the 4th day, had a little bit of complication, a bit of swelling, and still couldn't get up out of bed, couldn't do anything. So your family, you're there, paid a lot of money, you've got some special food to eat, but you still have to care for your family in the hospital. Now, this becomes a big problem for a lot of people in China if they're working in, let's say, the Qingdao city. They've come from another city, village area, and they come here and they're working here for one of these factories, and they're alone. They're young. They don't have family here. They have a big trouble if they have to go and spend a significant time in hospital for some injury or some problem, because there's no family here to look after them. They basically have to summon somebody from the village, the parents or the sister or somebody, to come in from the village into the big city to come and sit by their bed and look after them. Now, I've had staff in our company who have had their husbands need to have an operation where they've had to take leave, annual leave, to go and stay in the hospital 24 hours and sit by their husband and attend to him and feed him and get him food, bring him food every meal time, and look after him while he's stuck in bed for 3 days after an operation. So it's a very different system here, but it's effective. There's so many people here. I think they still have a problem. There's too many people. Maybe not enough hospitals, maybe not enough nursing staff. It's a big challenge here, but it works. They've developed systems in these hospitals to make it very efficient, very fast, and do a lot with a small amount of people. So if you're coming to have your baby in China, make sure you prepare to have some support around you. Make sure you are preparing to have people who can help you in the hospital. If you're going to a normal hospital to have the baby, be prepared. If you can't afford the big expensive clinic, you need to prepare your meals. Someone needs to prepare your meals, your parents or somebody. Or you have to pay somebody. There are people you can pay that do this as a business even. So you can actually find these people through the hospital. You can find these people where you can pay them just like you would maybe pay a nanny to come and look after your house. You can pay someone to come relatively cheaply to be there, feed you, look after you, help you with your toilet and God knows anything else. Even help feed the baby if so be it. So it was successful. Baby's healthy. Since then, we've been back to that hospital many times for vaccines and multiple checkups. They're very, very cautious here, very detailed. I've been very impressed with their level of detail and their level of care. And they, I think, have a lot of checklists to go through here because they don't want to miss anything, and because they're doing it so often. I didn't think the operation was so swift and short, very rapid, and probably faster than you would have the operation in Australia, because they're doing this so often. I think these doctors are actually delivering babies, probably 10 times the amount of babies a day that you would for one doctor in Australia. It's a different world here. It's exciting. We survived. Our baby's fine. We're fine. Would I do it again? Maybe, maybe not. It's all right. I'm too old to have another baby now anyway. All right. Off to work now. If you like this video, subscribe. Subscribe for some more very interesting journey stories in China. If you haven't, hit the like button. Till next time, be safe, don't get sick, have a good day.